everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to make this DIY Dollar Tree flat and fluffy snowman. First you're going to need is 2 or 3 of these car cloths. You're going to need this wire wreath form, this pack of fun foam or any fun foam, a marker or black paint, your glue gun, and this cutting device, the blue handled one. The first thing, and you're also going to need a wire cutter. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to deconstruct this wreath form. Now this one happened to be broken. It was broken already. The big wide ring was actually cut in half. So I was like, I could use it for something else. I can fix it. But it's what inspired me to make this snowman wreath. I was looking to make a snowman wreath, and I really wanted it to fit in between a door and a screen door. And it didn't have very much space. So I was kind of like, what can I do to make it look flat or have it be flat where it still looked like it was fluffy? And that's where the inspiration came from. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my wire cutter. Some of them came off very easy and some of them were very difficult. I will be honest with you. But what I'm doing is I'm detaching each ring from the supports, from the lateral supports. So if you see here, like I said, some popped right off. Some, when I held the wire cutter to the lateral support and I pushed down away with my thumbs, some of them popped right off. Some of them, on the other hand, I had to actually work the wire cutter around and actually cut the piece of wire. The center ring popped off super easy. Each one of those just popped right off. When I got to the second and third was really where it was the most difficult. So I wanted to let you guys know there is other options for this. Everything that I've put on here is indoor-outdoor. The car cloths, because they're meant to clean and dry a car, they are water resistant, or they'll dry eventually. The fun foam is weatherproof. Hot glue is weatherproof. And the fact that I'm using this wire wreath form, it's also weatherproof. The reason I thought that was important to tell you is an alternative to cutting this wreath foam apart is to cut 3 circles out of cardboard or foam board. Either one of those would work. A more expensive option would be to buy 3 different wreaths. They have the different sizes you could use. You could use like the big one for the big circle. You could use like that green, round green one for the middle circle. And then they have a flat green one that you could use for the small circle. Or you can use different size plates. Any of those things would work. But again, this is the cheapest option to get 3 rings out of 1 wreath form. And I'm showing you it's just still working. I also, this last one I ended up breaking. So I will show you that. I am going to tape them closed. And taping worked until I went to pull the towel tight. Then I had to go take the whole thing apart afterwards and put it back together, and I'll talk you through how to repair it if you actually cut your wire. All right? So we're still working on this last one. And then the last ring I'm left over with does have all those supports on them, and you know me, I didn't throw it away. I put it aside because who knows, might be inspired someday. If you guys don't totally wreck your big wreath, hang on to it because you never know when you're going to be inspired to do something different with it. All right, so this is the 3rd ring, and it got cut in half, and now I'm repairing it. I'm just using some scotch tape and connecting the joints. I'm trying to lay it as flat as possible, and then just connecting wherever it broke. But like I said, I would go back and do a different type of support for it because the scotch tape didn't really keep it from bending back and forth. So to take like a toothpick or something and lay it across the break, and then to go ahead and tape it, that would be the best thing to do. And now you're left with the 3 rings. Okay? So the next thing you do is you're going to take one of these chamois cloths, and what I want to show you here is the chamois cloth actually has like a thin fuzz and then a thick fuzz on the other side. And I wanted the thick fuzz to face outside. So I made sure I laid this against the thin fuzzy side. And when you get these car cloths, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And they do shed once you cut because it's obviously cut fabric sometimes that does that. All right. And then I started with the biggest circle And just like when we do any chair covers or any of that stuff, you want to do the four sides across from each other, and you want to make sure you do this so that you don't accidentally pull it too much in one direction or another. And then I'm just going around and I'm hot gluing all the edges flat down. It really is simple, guys. It really is. And this cloth is thick enough that you can't feel the hot glue under your finger. So it might be a good thing for if you're doing with kids. Like you could put the glue down and have the kids put the fabric down. And keeping it a perfect circle was not so important to me because, first of all, snowmen aren't. Second of all, actually, a snowman would hold up better if it was sort of egg shaped or oblong. Um, but it also just makes it look more that homemade rustic look that we love. And then I turned it over and that's it. And then I liked just adjusting it. And then I liked brushing the fur up. So instead of petting it like you would pet your dog in the same direction that the fur goes, I brushed it in the opposite direction. So it made it look more fluffy. And the reason I call this flat and fluffy, like I said, is I wanted it to be totally flat to fit between a door and a screen door. But I did want it to look like it was full. So that's why we're brushing the hair up that way. All right, and then you're just going to repeat the same thing with the other two rings. Now for me, I've got one towel made the big circle and the other one more towel made the other two circles because I cut them very carefully. But I bought three just in case, so you guys do whatever you can do, all right? And if you do cut it, what I did on this ring was because there was just such a little edge to go around, I actually glued underneath the ring to hold it to the towel so that it didn't actually pull even worse than it would normally. All right, and I'm just doing the same thing where I'm gluing all around all the different sides. I started with north, south, east, and west, and then northeast, southeast, northeast, southeast, northwest, southwest. And then I filled in whatever was left over. All right, now once you do that, you just set it aside and you work on your third one. And then, as you saw there, I was talking about more about brushing the nap is really the correct term, but brushing the nap so that it made it look like it was more fluffy. I wanted it to get sort of the texture. It'll have a snow type texture, and it will help with the fluff. Now this does end up being a very tall snowman. I didn't measure him, but he looks like he's at least 3 feet tall. I'd say he's probably closer to almost 4 feet tall. So if you just want to do a 2-ring snowman, you can. That's your option. Um, Again, I wanted it to be a nice size. But then again, that's, like I said, totally up to you guys. These are just inspirations to help you with techniques and to help you with some inspiration. All right. So now that we're done with all three of them, and again, I brushed the nap all in the same direction. We're going to go ahead and glue them together, and they're really just so simple. They're actually super light. It's surprisingly how light this object is, even when it's completely finished. So you see here, I'm making the nap all three go in the same direction, so that's why I'm using to line it up. And I've just figured out where I want to glue. I've done the ring of glue, and then I've turned it upside down and filled in what's left over. Okay. Then I've repeated the same thing with the head. Now, if you don't line this up perfectly, that's okay. Snowmen sometimes fall over. If you don't have his face on perfect, that's okay. Snowmen sometimes don't have a perfect face. Okay? So that's him. And now we're going to cut out his nose. Now, in this pack of fun foam, there was orange. I got the shape inspiration from a little wooden ornament from the Dollar Tree. It's a little snowman head. Some of you guys have seen it. And I got that little carrot shape from. But you can look on the internet and you can get whatever carrot shape you like. So here what I'm using, and I didn't mention this before, and this is just an option, is I took these caps from medicine bottles that I was recycling. And I wanted to show you that if you don't have a good time cutting the circle and you don't want to paint fun foam black, then you can go ahead and use caps, or I was thinking about all different things you could do that were round and flat that didn't weigh a lot. So bottle caps, what was the other thing? Oh, they have like these mini coasters, but they're buttons. That was the other thing. So what I've showed you here is that you could use a black marker if you don't have any paint, or you can use paint, What I'm just using is the craft acrylic paint from Walmart, which I have already, and I'm using a sponge brush. And I painted the first one by hand, and then I realized if I put them back on the bottles, it's easier and less messy. And I'm actually dabbing them so they get the texture of like coal. I'm not just brushing it on, I'm dabbing it. I'm like pouncing with the foam brush because I did really like that texture. In fact, I think we can see the texture here in a second. There we go. See that? Excuse me. And I really did like the way that looked, especially when it dried the next day. It did give it that real, like, it's supposed to be coal buttons down his shirt, traditionally, I should say. Okay. And what I originally had was 2 large caps and 3 small ones. I thought it was going to be 3 small buttons and 2 large eyes. But then I went ahead and I wasn't crazy about the size of the eyes. So I ended up cutting eyes out of the fun foam. We're actually going to make the hat out of the fun foam too. And I'm sorry you didn't see me cut the shape of the brim. And this is totally option. But if you could see there, the brim is just cut out of fun foam and I painted it black. I just made sort of what was a big arched eyebrow almost. And then I've taken another piece of the fun foam and I brushed it black like a rectangle. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a hat. Now, there is an option. Dollar Tree sells really cute knit hats. And if you don't want to go through this process of making a stovetop hat or a top hat, then you go ahead and you get one of those cute little hats. They're so adorable. And you could just slide it right on the snowman and he would be really finished. But what I'm taking this a step further and I'm creating a top hat. Okay? I really was inspired by the Frosty poem, So make sure when you paint your fun foam, I got the edges. And this piece is bigger than I'm going to need, bigger than we'll need for the top of the hat. But then we're going to use it for other stuff. So this is the next morning. I let it dry overnight, all the caps and all of the hat pieces. Okay, and currently I just cut an arch out of the hat and it's totally, the brim, and it's totally flat on one edge, as you see there. But what we're going to do is we're going to hold it up to the snowman, okay, and position where we want it. And I wanted it on an angle, like a cute little dashing little angle. So I marked there the 2 edges of where it would cross over his head, and I cut a notch out. You see the notch there? And that's so it forms around his head. So if you came at him from an angle, he would look like he actually had a hat on. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take the brim and the piece of black flat that we painted, and we're going to glue it. It's okay if it hangs over a little bit underneath, but we're just going to put some glue in the arch. And now the brim, we painted the inside at the top and the bottom, but the black crest of the hat, we only painted one side. So you want to make sure the black side is out of the crest of the hat. And just run a bead of glue along the edge of the fun foam. And again, you're not a haberdasher. You're not selling this at Macy's. It's okay if it looks handmade. And if you get a little extra hot glue on there, it's okay. We're going to put a band on the hat, so it's okay. But what I'm doing is just a straight bead of hot glue in a straight line, pretty close to the edge there. And then I'm sticking the fun foam straight up. And like I said, if you're not advanced enough for this, go ahead and get a knit hat. It looks super cute. And I meant to buy one to show you guys. You'll see I'll give you 2 scarf options. And I meant to do it with or without a hat. So now that I have it matched in the other end, I just cut the excess off. Now the piece that we cut out of the brim, the little arched piece we cut out of the brim, we're actually going to use. I meant to say don't throw it away. We're going to put it on the top, and that's going to hold, it's going to do 2 things. First of all, it's going to make it look like it has a top, and it's going to hold that arched shape, that curved shape. It's going to help hold that because we're going to glue the ends up. Here, I'll show you what I mean. There, you see? We're going to glue, yes, we're going to curve the top of the hat up to the edge of the little black piece so it looks nice and curved. There you go. Okay, and the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to round off the brim. I had it squared off, But now I made it round off so I know how nice I want it. And then I'm coloring whatever I cut in black with the magic marker so it has a nice finished edge. And then this ribbon again, I love this ribbon. I thought this would look a really cute little band. But you guys pick whatever ribbons you like, whatever style you like. If you want them to be bandless, you can. I'm just going to take it one step further. Okay, and this is that cute little plaid burlap ribbon I got last year at the Dollar Tree. I think some stores still have it this year, but I haven't seen it myself. I've just seen people haul it. So actually, I did see it myself. Did I see the plaid? I saw the burlap ribbon, but I don't know if I saw the plaid. But anyway, so then I'm gluing it around the back so it looks like a finished edge. And I just put it right up to the brim. And then I've taken these glittery pine cones. Again, you can decorate it with whatever you want. Just take one of those picks from the Dollar Tree. Flowers, nothing even is fine. But I've just taken a red glittery pine cone, glued it on the side, and then I cut a piece of this, the pine wire twist things for the wreath that I have. So that's what I used. And I want to show you, these are the two eyes that I made. I put little like white highlights on there. And I wasn't really crazy about it. You know, you want to lay out your face way before you glue it. Okay, and now I tried putting white irises in it, and I don't know, I wasn't crazy. I think that the size was too big. That's what I was determining, is that these were the two big bottle caps, and they were just, I think, too big for the face of the look that I was going for with the hat. It's cute, don't get me wrong, but it's just not exactly what I was looking for. So what I decided to do, I don't like it. You can see I'm just testing all different ways. I'm drawing a mouth. So here's what I'm doing. I took a piece of the fun foam left over, the black on one side, and I've drawn different mouths, and then I've just cut a strip mouth out. You can go ahead and take a Sharpie, a hot glue gun, and glitter, whatever you want to make a mouth, a string, anything. So what I ended up doing was taking the two caps, the small caps, because I like the size of them, and I cut 2 rounds out of fun foam. And I put 4 dots, white dots, in the middle of each one to resemble buttons, because after all, he does have a corncob pipe and button nose and 2 eyes made out of coal. No, his eyes are supposed to be coal. But anyway, it's a fun thing. He doesn't have a corncob pipe, so it's okay. So then I glue all of the pieces down that I cut out of fun foam. I thought this mouth would be cute if you had like the red jute. You can always do a 3-dimensional carrot or a button nose. And then, like I said, you want to make sure you place your face, get it where you like it before you glue it down. The same thing with the hat and his buttons. The recommendation I have for the buttons is glue the top one, the bottom one, then the top one, and then the one in the middle. You could space it more evenly when you have the other two, as opposed to trying to remember to get them in a straight line. It's just easier that way. And that's it. So what I did was I took a piece of jute, and it's not important. It was just green because I have tons of it. And I braided it, and then I made it into a loop, just so it would be like a heavier, dutier loop, even though this thing weighs practically nothing. And there it is, all done. And here it is without a scarf. But I thought, you know what? Let's add a scarf, because scarves are fun. So I have a piece of this buffalo check scarf from the Dollar Tree left over from tons of crafts last week. And I cut a strip that was about 1.5 rows of the check wide. And then I just measured it was long enough. And then I took the fringe end and I cut a slit up the end. Yes, end was right. And what I did was I wanted to make it look like it was a scarf that was tied in a knot. So I cut up about 10 inches and I tied the 2 ends together so it would create a knot. And then I scrunched the rest up under his chin. And I made sure I glued it under his chin because I didn't want to hide his cute face. And I took the curve of his cute little face. And then I wrapped around the back and glued all the extra. And then cut off the extra. Well, glued some extra and then cut off the extra. And that was it. And here is him, so cute, with his scarf on. Isn't he dandy? Isn't he cute? I just love the way he turned out. I hope you guys do too. I also want to show you a quick option. If you have any twigs, you can always give him twig arms. I would glue them either sticking out of the front right there or right there, or around the back. So that's it, guys. Hope you really enjoyed this tutorial. If you do, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. Don't forget to share this video with friends and family. Anybody you know be interested in making one of these cute snowmen. And if you haven't yet, click subscribe, and when you do, a little bell will pop up. When you ring that bell, YouTube will let you know whenever I upload a video. And as always, take care. God bless. See you next time. Bye.